Hi guys, welcome to part 1 of my new video series, the Skyrim Mod Sanctuary. Now this series is going to be very similar to my New Vegas mod clinic, except quite obviously I'm going to be covering Skyrim modding. Now for those of you who are new to my video channel, what we're basically going to be doing is trying to make modding easy. We're going to be trying to make it accessible to as many people as possible. There's absolutely no reason you can't mod your game literally to the limit of your machine. And I'll also be basically showcasing any mods that come along that I think should be highlighted or that you guys might like. And to kick the series off, we're going to start with the installation of what is probably going to end up as your new best friend in modding, and that is the Nexus Mod Manager. Now for people who use the Oblivion Mod Manager or the Fallout Mod Manager, I'm probably not going to have to explain what that is or why you should use it. But if for some reason you've not used them, or perhaps Skyrim's just the first game you've played and decided to mod, the reason you're going to use the Nexus Mod Manager to do all your modding, installation and uninstallation is it simplifies everything. Now, at first, that seems counterintuitive because generally at the start of a game's life, the mods that come out are pretty small. There'll be one plugin or maybe one texture. And the installation is simply copy that file to a certain place and you're done. And so people wonder, why should I install a mod manager? Why do I have to complicate things? And there are a couple of very good reasons. The biggest reason is basically if you use a mod manager to install all your mods, the few seconds extra you spend setting those mods up will save you hours of time later on, maybe even more. One of the big problems in modding your game is as you add more and more mods, you begin to lose track of which files you installed for which mod. And this becomes even more true as mods get larger and larger. You may end up installing mods that come with hundreds, if not thousands, of files. And if you install a mod and decide you want to uninstall that mod, it can be problematic in the extreme. Now, the Nexus Mod Manager is basically cross-platform with regards to games. So it doesn't matter whether you're playing Skyrim or Fallout 3, etc. The Nexus Mod Manager will do them all. So you can actually download this tool from any of the Nexus sites. It's the same file, don't worry about it. Currently, at the time of this recording, it was in open beta. So just click on the download now button and download the file. I'm going to put mine on the desktop. Now if you've got Oblivion Mod Manager installed, you're going to have to uninstall that, and before you do that you're going to have to uninstall all the mods as well. They're not compatible, I'm afraid, so you're going to have to do that. Now I haven't got that installed anymore, so I can't show you how to do that. If you've been using the Fallout Mod Manager for either of the Fallout games on Nexus, you can leave your mods installed, but you should uninstall the Mod Manager itself. If you have them both installed, they will fight each other if you try to use them both to manage your packages. So, once you've got everything ready, you basically then go to your executable and double click it. I'm going to select English. Next. Now I'm going to leave it exactly where they suggest. Doesn't bother me. You can put it wherever you like. I would leave all of these as default. And that's it. It is installed. So let's boot the Mod Manager up. First thing it does, it asks you which game you want to manage. It's got 4 choices at the moment. And you can actually click this if you wish to only play one game. Now, I've got a few games, so I'm going to leave it unchecked and go to Skyrim. It then asks you where you would like to store the Skyrim mods. Now, it's really up to you where you'd like to put them. It's offering to put them in the Steam, basically in the Skyrim install directory for me. Now, I have my games on a very, very fast SSD, solid state drive, but I don't want to have tons and tons of mods there taking up room, so I'm going to put those on a slower drive. So I'm going to choose to put mine in games, make a new folder, Skyrim mods, and inside there I'm going to make another folder, mods, and that's where my Skyrim mods are going to go. And for the install info, again, I'm going to put that in pretty much the same place, just by copying those and like so. So now all of the actual mods that I compile into packages will appear here, and the install info will be in a sister directory. And then finish. It then checks for a new Mod Manager version, which is pretty nice. And so here is my new Nexus Mod Manager. First tab you will see here are the plugins I have now. I just have the Skyrim ESM and the Update ESM. This is the quick first day patch. And I can mess around with the load order. If you don't know what load order is, don't worry too much about that. I'm going to cover that in another video. For now, it's not that essential. You're not going to be installing many mods with ESPs and ESMs, so I'll cover that at another time. But this is basically the actual files, the plugins. If I go to the mods tab, this is where all the mods that I download, I'll find them here. This is the package manager. For those of you who are used to the Fallout mod manager, this is the equivalent of the package manager. And we also have a download manager, because this program will actually do the downloading for us as well. I can launch the game from here. If I click this button, it will launch Skyrim. I have a few tools. Archiving validation. Now, I don't know if you need archiving validation for Skyrim. I've no idea, actually. There's been rumours that you might not need it. But if you wish, you can apply archiving validation. Okay, so let's start by installing our first mod. And I'm going to pick one of the files that's on the hot files, the enhanced blood textures. If you go to the file section, you can see main files and optional files. On the main files, you'll see a button, Download with Manager. If you click that button, you get a pop-up that basically asks you whether you want to open up your Nexus Mod Manager. Allow. And I'm actually going to say, I'm going to tell it not to ask, because I want it to do it every time. And as soon as I do that, it loads up my Mod Manager. Queues up, if you go to the download manager, it queues up the enhanced blood textures for download and starts downloading. And apparently, if you lose your connection and reconnect later on, and it's a big mod, the mod manager will continue to keep uploading that file. So my mod has now downloaded and the package has been installed into Mod Manager. That's not the same as being installed into the game, but in the Mod Manager. So if I go to the mods, you can see the enhanced blood textures mod. Here it is. And here's the information available for this mod, which is quite nice. I then select this mod and I go to the Activate button, as you did this one, and I click it. The mod has now been installed, and it's as simple as that. There are no plugins for this mod, but this mod is just simply a texture replacement. So what has the mod manager now done? Well, if I go to my Skyrim data folder, I can now see there is a folder called textures, and under textures, blood, here are the new textures. And that's what this mod has done. It's installed some textures. Now, if I uninstall this mod or deactivate the mod, you'll notice almost immediately the texture folder disappeared. That's because it has been uninstalled by the Mod Manager. Now, one great thing about using the Mod Manager is if this mod writes any files that overwrite other files in this folder, it will move the files it overwrote to a safe place. And when you uninstall the mod, it will restore the files it deleted. It will restore them. This is one of the great advantages to using the Mod Manager. It basically means you can uninstall a mod and it leaves your game in the exact same state it found it. Or at least usually it does. There are some exceptions, but for now just take that as that's how it works normally. So, can we install all mods just like that? And unfortunately the answer is no. And I'll explain why in a second, but I'm first of all going to show you one that doesn't work. Lockpick Pro. Basically this gives you, I suppose, a cheat. It gives you an interface where you can see the exact point to pick a lock, which means basically you don't need the lockpick skill at all. So consider this a cheat, but we're going to use this as an example, and I hit the download with Manager and it opens up the Nexus Mod Manager. There it is, downloading now. And that's finished. Another small mod. I go along to Lockpick Pro and activate. So let's go and have a look at the data folder now. Skyrim data. There we have lockpicking menu. Now, unfortunately, that's in the wrong place. It should have been in the interface folder. If you check the installation, that's what it said. So, what went wrong? Right, well, first of all, let me just uninstall that mod, because obviously it's installed badly, and I'm going to delete it. Right. So now go back to Lockpick Pro. I'm going to download this one manually. Now once the file's downloaded, you'll notice it's a zip file. First thing to do is extract this file into a folder. Just the default folder it wants to call itself, and then delete the zip. This folder, when you look inside it, basically as you can see, the lockpicking menu swift is straight in the base folder, and the Mod Manager basically thinks it has to put that in your data folder directly. Now this is not the case, because if you look at the installation text, it says you must put it in /data/interface. So how do we get Mod Managers to do that? Well, basically what we do is recreate the folder structure that it's expecting. So first of all, data, let me move that in, and then interface, and move the lockpicking menu in there. Now that's where it's expecting to find it, data and interface. So the Mod Manager is now going to look inside our new mod package and find data, and it will know what to do with it then. It knows where to put it. One thing I would recommend is the installation text and the preview JPEG delete. And the reason for this is because these files are outside of the data folder, Mod Manager basically puts them in a folder called Lockpick Pro for you inside, just in case you needed them for some reason. It's not too bad, but your data folder ends up getting quite messy. It's completely up to you. It won't hurt you to keep them, but it's not pleasant to look at. So I delete those. So I now simply have a folder with data and interface in. Now I close this. I now have to turn it into an archive. Now I could 7-zip it, zip it normally, or add it to a RAR. I like RAR, so there you go. And I don't need this anymore. I now have a single RAR file, and I open up my Nexus Mod Manager, go to the Mods tab, go to the Add Mod from File. Now you need to change this option to all files because we're looking for a RAR file, not a faux mod or an OMod. Select the Lockpick Pro RAR file we made and open it. Select it and hit activate. And that's it. If I now go to the data folder, you'll notice lockpicking menu is exactly where it's supposed to be. So, how do you know which mods you can download with Manager and which you have to download manually and edit? Well, to be honest, there's no way of knowing. What I always do before I install these mods is download them manually and check them. So, seeing as I've already done that, I might as well create the mod package myself. I think what's going to happen is over the next few weeks, as mod authors get used to this new tool, they will start creating their mods in such a way that work instantly with download with Manager. But for now, be aware that you might be better off downloading manually and creating these packages yourself. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Nexus Mod Manager self-updates. So if I boot the game up, it will check for a new version, and it's found one. And I just click OK. Now it wants me to close the Nexus Mod Manager, so I'll do that. Same as before. And that's it. It's now updated to the latest version. Very simple. And that's it for this video as well. I hope you found it useful, and I do hope you take my advice and start using this tool for your modding. It will make your life a lot easier in the long run. Now, I'm not sure what the next video is going to be about, or in fact when it's going to be released. The mods are being released fast and furious right now, but in fact the creation kit that's going to be used to create a lot of the mods is not actually released yet. So when that finally comes out, we're basically just going to get a lot of mods hitting us, and I expect to be having a lot of videos covering those mods. And until then, have fun, and I'll see you next time.